what a game of football that was. For the neutral, amazing game of football, absolutely brilliant. For me, as a Leeds fan, my nerves are shot. I couldn't believe that. When we went 3-1 down, no, come on, let's start from the start. Before we get into this one, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and if you've watched any of my videos before, you'll know that I'll be making a lot more in the future. I'm trying to hit 1,000 this year, so hit that sub button down below and like the video if you like the video too. Let's get straight into the video. So, that game, oh my god. Dan James straight away proving everybody wrong, that nobody knows better than Marcelo Bielsa, and Marcelo Bielsa is the almighty. His team selection today, it did work. We were left exposed, but we'll get into that. It worked in terms of Dan James up front. He scored 2 goals today, and he was in the right place at the right time for both of them, which is what he's been lacking, because we know from past experience, from goals that he'd scored for They Who Must Not Be Named and Swansea, that he can finish. He just needs to get those chances and get a bit of confidence behind him. So that first goal took it outside a little bit. I thought, he's took it too wide here. And he hit it across the goalkeeper through, I think, Konza's legs, and it went in the bottom corner. Really, really good, tidy finish. His second goal, obviously scrappy, but that's more of being in the right place at the right time, which is very, like, striker's instinct, what you want from him. And then obviously the third one being a bit of another scrappy goal, but with Llorente finishing that one off. But we could have had a couple more than that, including Strauch heading over the top of Martinez and Tyrone Mings saving it off the line. So we could have had more today, but so could they. They broke very, very well. They countered our counters, and they were ripping us apart at points. Coutinho, Ramsey, Watkins didn't play very well, but Coutinho and Ramsey played very, very well, and were playing each other in. And obviously Coutinho scored the first, Ramsey scored their other 2. So Ramsey, he was brilliant. There's like no bias in it. He was really, really good, and his finishing was unbelievable for somebody so young. But I think all in all, a draw was a fair result, because they had some really, really good attacking play and some really bad defending. We had some really, really good attacking play and some really bad defending. And I think it was that we were trying to go blow for blow a little bit too much. And, well, I suppose once we were chasing the game, we kind of had to. But it was one of those where you're going so attacking both sides that everybody's just left open defensively, and we were getting ripped apart on the counter-attack. And if they didn't score, then we would counter-attack and rip them apart, and it was just one of those games. So let's highlight the players who played really well then. Obviously, Dan James, as we've already mentioned, he had a really good game. I thought Jack Harrison was good down that left-hand side. I didn't think he was amazing, but I think he was doing a very good job of getting past Cash and getting balls into the box, even though maybe we didn't have somebody who can win the headers in there. Obviously, Dan James being only about 5'6", but he was, like I say, getting in the right positions. Click played very well, I thought, today, battling in that midfield, and I think he did really well. There was times where he gave the ball away, but I think all in all, if we were to look at it as a full game, I think Click played very well. I think Dallas played very well from left back, bringing the ball out. I think Ayling maybe had a little bit of a rough game. He did bring the ball out like we like him to, but sometimes he was caught out of position or overran it, and that allowed them to counter him behind him then. And then we come on to Rafinha now. I don't know what happened to Rafinha when he was in Brazil, but he came back and he looked a shadow of his former self. He wasn't able to get on the ball in any dangerous positions, particularly apart from the one that he brought down on his chest and then sliced in half, which was pretty much summed up his game today. I thought every time he did get it, he was isolated out on the wing. There wasn't really much he could do with it, and there was players sort of behind him that he couldn't attack at because there was just too many of them. And I don't think anything really particularly went down that side. Now, Digne is a very competent left back, but Rafinha is also on the verge of a world-class winger. And the fact that he didn't have much luck today, I think, is not entirely to do with Digne having a very good game. I think Rafinha was pretty poor today, but that, like I say, can be a combination of things. He was pretty isolated out there. He didn't have great service, but then he wasn't also making those dynamic runs and trying to make third-man runs behind Dan James. He was sort of isolated out there and didn't really look... He looked interested, but nothing went right for him. But enough of the negatives about Rafinha. Obviously, he's got so much credit in the bank from how well he's played this season. He's 8 goals, 2 assists in 19 games, so he's averaging 1 goal contribution every 2 games, which is good for a winger. But like I say, yeah, I think Koch was okay today. Well, like we say, he's okay to go in there for a time, but he's not as dynamic as Calvin Phillips. When you see him pick up the ball, you're just urging him to turn and go forward with it, but more often than not he will turn and play a backwards pass to one of the centre backs, because I think that's his, as Michael on the Square Ball podcast said, he's doing something very centre backy, and that's what he was doing really. You can't expect him to instantly be amazing at turning and driving with the ball like Calvin does, or even playing the ball out wide or through the middle, trying to break those passing lanes, trying to break the lines within their midfield. So I think he did okay, and he was good defensively, offered us a little bit of cover, but I don't think he was sort of amazing bringing us up the field a bit, which is sort of why we had to switch it out to the wings in the end for Harrison and Rafinha sometimes to try and beat his man. Rodrigo today, it's hard to tell with Rodrigo. It's a bit like his whole career at Leeds United. He was really good in some parts, doing some really clever things, and then there was other parts where I just thought, what are you doing there? But for the positives, there was the Click and Rodrigo interplay for the second goal. Dan James's header, even though it was very scrappy, the actual finish, the actual setup for it was really good. Koch had it on the edge of the box, dinked it into Click, who then held the ball up and back-heeled it to Rodrigo, who took it to the byline and crossed it across. So it actually was a very good move, albeit a scrappy finish. So there are signs that we're creating a little bit more, and we're being a bit more creative in there. I think all in all, a draw, like I've said, is probably fair from that game. They played really well in attack. We played really well in attack, and we were both a little bit bad defensively. I really hope we improve on that defensively against Everton. I am going to be going to that one, so you will get a match day vlog out of that trip to Goodison Park. But yeah, Dan James really worked up front today, and he scored his goals, and he took them well, and he got into those positions. So that is a very, very positive sign, especially considering we sort of don't have Bamford's return date set in stone, really. It's one of those where it seems like it's a bit up in the air. Gelhardt maybe could have come on right towards the end. Roberts was warming up and then didn't come on. I don't know what that was about, because Dan James was sort of looking over to the sideline saying, no, I don't want to come off, but I could never tell whether that was Bielsa's decision or whether Dan James influenced that, so we'll have to wait and see what Bielsa's comments were about that, which he's probably saying right now because I've come up to do this video. Some of the challenges in this game, some of them were people flying in all over the place, which you don't mind. It's a bit old-fashioned blow-for-blow football, going at it and flying into challenges, but what Konza did to Meslier could probably have been a straight red on its own. I don't think that's being unreasonable. I think you can't run at somebody and elbow them in the face and not expect consequences. He was already on yellow card, so he got a red card anyway, but to me that should have been a straight red. It doesn't matter, obviously, it's just that in any other situation I would have probably hoped for a red for him there, because he's literally gone in and elbowed Meslier for no reason whatsoever, and get in front of him, annoy him, get told by the referee to go back, but don't just run and elbow him in the face. They said it was accidental. It looked on purpose to me, but let me know whether I'm just being a biased Leeds fan in the comments if you are a Villa fan. Yeah, some of the tackles flying in got a bit tasty, and Rafinha was having a go at Ashley Young towards the end, and obviously things are going to get fractious, especially in a game like that towards the end, so I don't think we can sort of learn much from that, other than we know already how annoyed Rafinha gets when things aren't going well for him. But yeah, all in all, don't want to make it too negative. We got a point there, and we have played 2 less games than Brentford, and we're on level points with them. So I think we are, or we're either level points with them or we're 1 point behind them. So things aren't as bad as they seem. I'm hoping that we get a win against Everton this weekend, and the table is looking a lot more healthy for us. If only Wilfried Zaha had done us a favour and scored his penalty, which he absolutely scuffed. If you haven't seen that, search it on Twitter or on Google or whatever. Wherever you look at your highlights, he just completely scuffed his penalty against Norwich. So if he'd have scored that, then they'd have been taking another loss and staying down in that relegation zone. So yeah, all in all, draw was a fair result, but I just think we need to tighten up a little bit defensively. We were too open and we were cut to ribbons. But they do have Felipe Coutinho, who is obviously has been and has the potential or has the capability of world-class football. And so, yeah, he's absolutely class. And when he's picking out runners, they're obviously going to have a good chance of scoring a goal against us. So yeah, 3-3 in the end for this one. Amazing game of football for a Leeds fan. Absolutely terrifying palpitations. But yeah, we go again on Saturday against Everton, and I will see you there for a match day vlog. Thanks for watching this one, and I'll see you next time.